The stuff with alcohol and drugs is more. Those are just symptoms of what the real problem is. It doesn't scare me the most, though. Sexual addiction is destructive, but alcohol, for me, there's a risk of blackout and killing people or suicide. Like those are the ones that are terrifying to me. I mean, the idea of doing that is that's what I'm most afraid of. Is I'm going to pick up again.
Do you have to work that all the time, or you feel like it's in the background a little bit?
I should. Yeah. I should be much more vigilant, because I think above all, I'd be happier if I was paying more attention to the spiritual side of my life. Because, I mean, spirituality is just about giving to other people and caring for other people. And I've neglected a lot of that through this obsession through work, which really is a self-obsession.
And yet, it seems like, and I know it seems weird, but you brought up the term spiritual. A lot of your stuff, that's your sacred place. You on stage, you in front of a mic.
In my life, I should be more. I should be more. I mean, I pray every night. I should pray in the morning. And again, whatever religion you are, whatever, man. But I just got to say thanks at the end of the night for fucking being sober.
Right.
You know, I mean, I'm very lucky. I mean, I got sober when I was 18. I'm very fucking lucky.
And is that also, when you're saying this gift that you got to be funny, do you also equate that when you're writing? Do you feel like that's almost a spiritual thing? Or
no, it's funny. I don't think of it like that. I guess I should, but to me, it's been, I think, more of a reactionary survival thing. Like, not in a melodramatic way, yeah, but it's been more of a reactive thing. Even though I know it's a gift. Always been, she doesn't like me, you know. But nobody fucks the comic, man. I mean, after a certain point, they start to. But at times, you really do just feel like the big-nosed clowns. They can go home and fuck their boyfriend. It really is irritating.
Hey, my name's Phil.
Hi, Phil.
Jim, you're brilliant, and Ron, no one gives a better interview.
I was thinking the same exact thing. I was thinking this was really going great.
Really is. We are in awe of fucking Ron and the interviewing skills, man. It really is a major... It's something to watch you just be able to fucking pull things out of people. Until you interviewed kids, I would have nothing to say to them. I really wouldn't. You know what I mean? Yeah. AIDS, AIDS. You know, and you fucking are so good at that, man. Yeah, I feel the same way about him.
I was wondering what art you like doing better, coming up with 5 hours of new material every morning on the radio, playing off, impromptu with a handful of guys, or going on stage night after night doing similar material in front of different audiences, trying to make them laugh.
It's the same. What they are is they're just different. I almost said, I caught myself. I almost said different branches of the same tree. But I realized the only way to redeem myself would be to cut my throat. But it's the same thing. It's just about being funny. It's like when I'm in the room, maybe it's wrong to do it, but I'm playing to Opie and Anthony. I can't think of what people are thinking outside, which maybe probably makes me not as good of a radio guy as I should be. Mm-hmm. But I'm playing to my buddies. I'm talking to my buddies. That's what I'm thinking of, is what they are thinking.
And that's because you have Opie to be the broadcaster, to be able to think other people are paying attention to this, because you don't put yourself outside that.
No, I mean, and he's fucking great at that, because without that, I get off track so many times, and he's like, well, we got to get back to it. And I know that I would wind up not realizing how uninteresting something is, but he is a lot of times thinking about, all right, what are they thinking out there? What's going through their heads out there, and how do I make this a listenable fucking experience?
My name's Bobo, and I was wondering, can you cite like a single moment where you were inspired to become a comedian?
Yeah, watching Richard Pryor in 1979, 1980 on my TV with my parents, watching live in concert. It's the best stand-up ever done, Richard Pryor live in concert. I always was funny, I always made people laugh. But I didn't know what to do with that. I would write stories when I was a little kid and love when they would be read and people would be laughing. But I didn't understand what comedy was. And I watched him, and it was like, that's what you do with it. So yeah, that for me was the moment.
What was it? Because he was making you laugh, or you saw other people in your life laughing?
Both. My parents were laughing. I was laughing, and he was making people. That was done in Long Beach, California. Pryor made pimps laugh.
Yeah.
And fucking Huey P. Newton. He fucking he introduced Huey Newton. You know how radical you have to be? I introduced Opie and Anthony, and that shouldn't be done. He fucking introduced Huey P. Newton, the fucking leader of the Black Panthers, man. Those are the guys he made laugh. I mean, he fucking had...
And at the same time, he had your parents. You know, I mean, that's really, really strange. And it's a powerful thing, I think, when you're a little kid and you see your parents laughing at something. Even if you don't get it, you're like, here's these people who I see being straight or are serious a lot, and they're losing it. And that's a powerful thing for a kid to see.
Well, he was so beautiful because he was doing really necessary and poignant racial stuff. And it was needed, and it was genuine, but he never tried to make you feel guilty. I love that about him. He never tried to make you feel guilty about being a white guy, so you didn't have that out. You had to acknowledge it because he was just accurately portraying things. And he was beautiful, man. He really was.
My name's Blake.
Hi.
And I had a question. You were talking about how you put it a post-timeless world now with all these special interest groups and all that, how they, find reasons to pick apart, like one little thing you say. I was wondering, how do you think that's affecting comedians and all that coming up? Like say, you get the average guy who's like trying to do stand-up now. Do you think it's harder for him to like try to break out? Say, for example, if you get Richard Pryor or Sam Kinison trying to debut in this post-timeless world, it would be almost impossible for them to kind of make it because you got all these special interest groups, and at the same time you have the same things where it's affecting like even like comedy movies, like say a movie like Blazing Saddles or Zorro the Gay Blade. There's no way that would ever be allowed in this. And how do you think that affects like comedians trying to up-and-coming comedians?
Could Pryor break out the same way that you saw him in '79? Would that still happen?
Well, the necessity of what Pryor did is different now, because times are different now. But the genius of him would be the same. He's Richard. Kinison was Kinison. Even though they didn't have as much political correctness, people stood outside with fucking signs, and women's groups, they were attacked, man. Pryor, they were going to arrest him on stage one time for the Lenny Bruce thing, but he had 12,000 people in the audience, and they thought better of it because a fucking riot would have broke out. I mean, these are guys. Look at Lenny. Lenny didn't have political correctness, but Lenny shone. I mean, and he was never as funny as Pryor. But even Richard would acknowledge that Lenny kicked open the door for him to be able to do what he did. So yes, Pryor would succeed today. Truly funny people, I think, will not rise above it and change, but find a way to fucking take whatever it is at the time that's so repressive and you kick it in the balls. You can't co-sign it. You can't co-sign it because that's what, to me, what comedians do. It's our job in a way is to take what's awful and what people hate and make it funny. To me, that's I guess what I love about comedy is like I don't want to hear about fucking holding my girlfriend's purse in the mall. Gives a shit. It's like like people who when after 9/11. I remember, you couldn't go on stage and talk about 9/11, but at the Comedy Cellar, me, Patrice, Keith Robinson, and somebody else were talking about the fantasies we had after 9/11. We all had fantasies about how we would have behaved on the planes. It was a natural human reaction. And we started laughing at what idiots we were. And that's what we went on stage the week of and started talking about. Again, you have to be careful where you put the joke. But to me, that was to allow people to laugh at that. Because Keith Robinson, he's a dumb motherfucker. His fantasy was that he would have recognized they were terrorists and that he would have grabbed the stewardess and hit her before the plane took off. And when the cops came, he would have said, "Those guys are terrorists." That was a fantasy a grown man had about stopping 9/11. So Keith told me that, and I couldn't wait to go on stage and go, "Your host tonight, this is what a fucking dummy he is." And Patrice did it, and so yeah, man. I guess I don't know where I'm going with that, but there is a way to get through all of that stuff. You just can't you can't co-sign it.
I think that the best will always find a way to break through, no matter what's happened in the society. And occasionally, some people go, even though these things are suppressing us and we're being held back, a guy will rise up and get himself a couple of specials on HBO, be on the biggest morning show in the country, and even write a best-selling book. Ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy Norton, let him hear it.
Thank you.
Unmasked on XM. Truth in comedy.
Brought to you by BowDogLife.net. Playing poker has never been easier. Sign up for free today at BowDogLife.net.
This XM exclusive comedy presentation was recorded at the XM Performance Theater in Washington, D.C.
With thanks to Jamie Carr, Chris Walsh, and Rick Hamilton. Unmasked with Jim Norton was hosted by Ron Bennington. Recorded by Alex Hodge. Editing by William E. Black. Post-production by Aaron Lee. Executive producer, Kenny Curtis.
Yeah, and I really am a hypocritical little scumbag. I'm up here trashing Britney Spears' ass. She's really stupid. What a dummy. I would still gladly lay back and let her shit in my mouth.
Unmasked is produced exclusively by XM Satellite Radio.